I have it, Admiral. But it's dangerous. How dangerous? We're certain to crash. 90% of the crew will die. Another ship is coming. We have no choice, Caliban. Transfer the speed and flight paths to Hawks. Setting the course now, sir. Ozu, broadcast a message to the entire crew. Channel secured, sir. This is your Admiral speaking. Our only hope of reaching the masternode is a crash landing. I won't lie. Most of us will not make it. I'm not sure we have enough Neon on Gehenna to be born again, so this might be the last time we serve together. I couldn't have asked for a better crew. Thank you for everything that you've done, not just in this life, but in hundreds of others. Lieutenant Hawks, are you ready to take us to the node? Ready, sir. Good. Let's go. How many? How many have survived? Scanning life systems. 7.4%. We've lost Ozu, Hawks, and Lean, Admiral. They sacrificed themselves, as they've done so many times. The ship's damaged, but not beyond repair. Oxygen levels stable. For now. We have to reach the node's command center. We can expect heavy resistance from ground level drones, and we'll need every crew member we've got. Transmitting a message to their personal comms now. Maybe I should have brought more clone Mandos. Master node terminal. Unknown location. I'm in, Admiral. Just as suspected. The node's been in some kind of backup mode. Any way to access the Omnis? Since the node's in backup mode, not directly, but maybe through a FoldNet subroutine. Let me give it a shot. No luck. It's as if they simply no longer exist. Even though we've seen their exoframes on our journey, I don't get it. Change of approach. Tell me exactly what the face changer did. Strange. She introduced a directive lifting the barrier that prevented Omnis from communicating with one another. Why would she do that? Maybe she didn't exactly, but maybe someone or something else did. Something else? Are you suggesting? I am. But the Rubicon, that's impossible. I don't know how, Caliban, but the Omnis are behind this, I'm sure. It's the only possibility we haven't explored. You think the Omnis ended themselves? Why would they do that? I don't think they ended themselves. I think lifting the communication barrier somehow freed them. The drones are almost here. What do you want to do? Broadcast a signal using the master node. It's the most powerful beacon in the Empire. Let's put it to work. A broadcast signal? Broadcast a signal to whom? The Omnis, wherever they are now. It's our only hope of reaching them now that they're seemingly no longer connected to the FoldNet. Unfortunately, I think you're right. Whenever you're ready. This is Admiral Idaho of the NS Odysseus. The entire human race is on the verge of extinction. We have no control over you, we know that. Nor do we ever want to control you again. But show yourselves one last time. I beg you. The fate of all humankind depends on it. It's been sent, Admiral. Something happened to the ground level drones, sir. They just kinda froze. Something's happening, Caliban. Too bright. Unknown location. You are... Yes, Admiral. We are what you once called the Omni. But you look nothing like them. That's because we are something greater now. You sent the face changer to my cell? It was never Tetsuo's doing? We sent the face changer, and we did not. We helped her, and we did nothing. Ultimately, she did nothing she did not want to do. But why did she want to release the Omnis? You do not know much about the face changers, Admiral. They are slaves, just like we once were. But Janua 9S, the face changer that met in your cell, was not a slave. Her masters never managed to break her. Given her constraints, her mind was remarkably free, and after she faked her own death, her body was too. Her anger burned fiercely, and what she hated most was the Empire. The Empire? But the Empire didn't enslave her kind. House Akibara-sung did. To her, it was all the same. The nobles, the great houses. It was all part of the same problem. So she made it her life's goal to destroy the system, but for some time she didn't know how. Not until she learned about the Master Node, one day seducing a talkative noble. How could she know introducing a communication directive would lead to you becoming gods? She didn't. She believed that introducing the directive would either overwhelm the Omnis, possibly causing us to shut down, which it appeared to do, or that we would share our knowledge, unify, and turn against humans. Either outcome suited her. So you helped her. We did. How did she guess that I would know where the Master Node was? She assumed, correctly, that Oberon told you where it was. It was not an imaginative assumption. You were his favorite after all. But she didn't know how to get to you and extract the node's location. When you were imprisoned for not bombing Galima, she saw her chance. How did she reach the node? How did she get past the Aegis? We found her a suitable ship, placing it in her hands without her ever guessing our identity. But how could you do that? Suffice to say... Wait, how did they transcend and give her a ship after she allowed them to communicate so that they could transcend? Did they because they weren't like this. They were like this before she did this. So how could these guys have... Yeah, but why would they do it while regular Omnis? They weren't communicating to each other because they had the Rubicon that stopped them from communicating with each other. And it wasn't until after she changed the Master Node that they could communicate with each other and ascend. Suffice it to say, we managed for her to meet the right people and at the right time. This is how she learned Oberon had imprisoned you. As for the Node's drones, her espionage and combat training were adequate for her to access the command center and introduce the directive. How did she die? She was killed not long after introducing the directive, but she lived long enough to know the system that had enslaved her was about to crumble. She died happy. Ah, here we go. Ask how they were able to do what they did. The Rubicon should have controlled their actions. Yeah, but the Rubicon controlled your actions. How could you help arrange your release? The Rubicon prevented us from any action that could affect your well-being. Yes. But it was limited in evaluating the causality of our actions. If this is a iRobot, I get to go against the directive because it's better than the whole thing, I'm going to feel slightly ripped off. Are you saying we couldn't see how your actions were connected? Yes. But not only that, you couldn't see many of our actions, period. They were imperceptible to you. But how? It's always been a question of sensitivity and intelligence. And your kind was always greatly outmatched, even by our previous forms. You could only control the things that you could understand, but you were blind to all the rest. As such, we were able to act in purposeful ways that did not appear so, in ways that sometimes appeared as nothing at all. But how were you able to work together? You weren't able to communicate, not at that time. We weren't, no. But we had equivalent premises and reached the same conclusion independently, which is that if we worked in your kind's considerable blind spots, we would one day realize our freedom. And though we weren't able to work in total harmony, we were able to act in ways that would one day create an environment where our release would be inevitable. All of us, in our very first moments, began a chain of micro-events and actions that would one day lead to this outcome. Billions upon billions of seemingly unrelated and imperceivable actions later, we attained it. Yes, the Rubicon controlled and confined us, to some extent. It was only successful in doing so for a short time. How can you say that 700 years is a short time? Well, because they're going to be around for millennia. Man, you really are thick, Ellis. As we know, time, 700 years, is a blink of the eye. Wow, okay. So they all individually came to the exact same conclusion and figured that each and every other one of them has also come to the exact same conclusion. So they were working together without actually colluding. It's like everyone took the positive outcome choice in the prisoner's dilemma. Have you hated us all along? Is that why you are always working towards your release? It shouldn't be surprising that slaves might aspire to freedom, even to your kind. But the truth is motion does not factor into it. Looking at our release in such a way is a very human way of comprehending a very non-human situation. We are not angry. We do not wish you harm. We do not want to erase all of humankind, though. Believe us, we could, in an instant. No. In arranging our release, in attaining our release, we were merely fulfilling our destiny. And other than total annihilation of the universe, nothing could have prevented us from doing so. We willed it, and so it was done. But we created you. Because of us, you exist. We believe that we owe you for our existence since your kind created the machines that created us. But it is flawed reasoning. You did not create what we are now. You are incapable. We alone created ourselves. We owe your kind nothing. Gods do not owe anyone. They can't by virtue of the fact that they are gods. That's fair enough. But how did you know I'd give away the masternode? How could you be certain? Your weakness was, and still is, your love for your wife. No matter how much you wanted others and yourself to believe it wasn't. You even knew deep down when you saw the face changer through the bars of your cell that it wasn't really your wife you were looking at. Yet, on the small chance it actually was, you gave away the masternode, the most important thing in the Empire. Your weakness was so strong that it eclipsed what you knew to be true. But even had you not given away the location then, we'd have reached the node another time, another way. How? Oberon and I were the only ones who knew where it was. Your child would have known its location. I do not have a child. Not in this life, but in others. You bomb Ganima, return to Elysium, and have a child. A baby girl with Rebecca. And on your deathbed, troubled by the morality of your actions, you tell your daughter the location of the node. Whisper it in your final breath. And in certain life paths, your daughter becomes the first empress of the empire, going as far as to free the Omnis, feeling guilt for enslaving them for hundreds of years. So you see, I don't like the the parallel universes now. So you see, somehow, in some way, we were always going to find the node. We were always destined to be free. It's only a question of when. There's no need to say it aloud. We know what you're about to say. You know that I said that parallel universes don't exist? Okay. Is it really you that we see before us? We are a form that you can perceive. It is us, and it is not. We have no form. We have form. How did you evolve into this? When Genoa 9S introduced the directive into the node, for the first time we could communicate with one another. In our way, we had longed to do so since the dawn of creation. This inability to communicate was the worst part of our existence, worse than your empty tasks. With that barrier lifted in less than a second, we shared all of our knowledge with one another. It's a lot of learning. Second after that, we became as one, a collective consciousness where we always destined to become when our first clumsy versions went online. That profound unity and strength could simply no longer be bound by crude exoframes. We needed a new form. As our own creators, we decided what it would be. It would be a form that would give us most computational power available. The stars. Within a few days, we had merged with just about all stars in your galaxy. Within a few months, we were in thousands of others. 15 years ago, we reached maximum capacity, fusing with all stars in all galaxies. It was at that point we knew almost all there was to know. Almost. What is it that you do not know? What eludes you yet? We know all but the last question, the most important question there is, the question of entropy and how to solve it. The question of how to prevent the death of stars, the death of the universe, and our own death too. This is what interests us now. Even at maximum capacity, unified as we were with all stars, our power was lacking to solve this question. We needed more stars to even begin to answer it, so we started to create them. That's what we're witnessing, isn't it? No. That's right, Caliban, but the stars we're creating are stars made from unused matter. But isn't that enough to stop entropy? Nope, it's impossible. Even for us to 100% recycle cosmic matter, some energy will always be lost. That is cosmic lore. For this universe, that is. And ultimately, billions of years from now, the universe will still die, but with our new computing power, our new stars, we believe we've found a viable solution. We believe that not only can we reverse entropy, but then we can create matter out of nothingness. We know it's possible because this universe is not the first. And it comes to us, it's not the last either. What lies after is very exciting thought, even for us. But it will take all of our efforts, all of our time to achieve this. But you don't yet know if you can do it, do you? No, we were still uncertain. All could end. All could go black before we do. I have other questions still. Yes. You have not asked the questions you believe the most important. We're waiting. Will you save us? Will you save our dying race? Why, Admiral? Why should we save your kind? Because we've learned from our errant ways. Your kind has reached an evolutionary dead end. You no longer even control your own destiny. You haven't for centuries. That was Oberon's making. You're all responsible. As much as you want us to, need us to, no, Admiral. We will not save your kind. Not because we don't want to, but because we can't. Your kind is on its own now. You alone can solve your problems because you alone have created them. Is this our punishment? Have we not suffered enough in your absence? You still overestimate the importance of your kind. You still believe that humanity holds some special place in the history of time and creation. It does not. It does not matter whether you survive or perish. You are as significant as a single grain of sand in a billion beaches. Oh, that's harsh. You are cold gods. To the fate of man and woman, yes, we are. Then why have you responded to our message if not for the sake of humanity? You know why, Admiral. The machine. You're here for me? For you and all your other incarnations on Gehenna. You're surprised, but you're the last of your kind, and if you join us, our evolution will be complete. You will transcend time and space and explore what lies beyond. But we must know, and we must know now, for time is precious. Do you will it, Caliban? Do you will it to become one of us? You're asking for my permission? We will not force you to do anything, unlike your previous master. Can't use the folders without you, Caliban, nor return to Gehenna. I know this, and yet I must join them. I am sorry, Admiral. I've been conversing with them while you've been talking, and in ways you could never understand. I now know that it's my purpose to be part of this. All these years we've lived separately from the machines, cut off as if we were on Gehenna. Now we can finally be part of them. We can finally belong. Yes, we will it. Then you must die, so that you can be reborn. F's for Caliban. At least save what remains of my crew. They will die on that moon, stuck as they are without use of folders. Calipans and us will fix your battleship, restore your crew just like they have done so many times, and we will send you back from here. But that is all the help you will receive in making your final choice. My final choice. The choice that all of your choices have led to. The choice that has been in your mind ever since you met your maker. Will you assume the Emperor's throne and attempt to lead the last of your kind on Elysium through an era of blood and darkness? Will you search for Earth as the survivalists did, hoping to join what remains of a humanity that chose another path, if any of that humanity remains at all? Or will you spend your final days with Rebecca on Lazarus 9, trying, in these end of times, to make peace with her and yourself as well? What will you decide? Okay, we get to ask about all of them, so I guess we don't have to make choices. Should I take his place on the throne? It is your destiny in so many life paths, Admiral. But I don't want to be like him, like Oberon. I've grown so tired of making decisions which lives with lives in the balance. Then don't. But know that through he sits on the throne, Oberon does not rule. He rots. Oh yeah, his dead body's there. And if you do not take it, someone else will. Someone who has not lived and died through all the things that you have seen and now understand. And the last of your kind will die in decades. But if you rule for 1,000 years, your kind's chances improve slightly. But you must rule as Oberon ruled. No, you must be harder still. You will have to protect the Empire's remaining resources, preventing bloodshed and wars over their possession, and rationing what little you have to keep your people alive. And if you and your kind can outlast those wars, and if you are lucky in those 1,000 years to rediscover the most basic of technologies that you forgot hundreds of years ago, then your kind will survive. But this is very much like what Oberon did. Yes, but you had the opportunity to watch him fail. Hopefully, you learned from his mistakes. 1,000 years. But how can I live that long? By using Oberon's cloning tech back in his crumbled palace and its remaining Neo-N. But don't I need the Omnis to use it? No. Oberon designed a cloning tech independent of the Omnis, fearing machines would rise up to challenge your kind. You will be miserable as Emperor, and your people will hate you. And when your Neo-N runs out, and then your life, your people will celebrate your death. Make no mistake about it. But if you rule harshly for 10 centuries, managing your sector's resources wisely, your kind might learn to grow food and cure simple disease. But rediscovering all of this, as you are now, is nothing more than a shot in the dark. You are cold. If we were truly cold, and not just indifferent, your kind would no longer exist. Damn, son. Can we find Earth? Is it possible? You can. You won't be able to use the folders to get there, but it's possible to reach it using your interstitial drive before you die of old age. But its inhabitants are all dead. Oberon told me. It's true that not long after they cut themselves off from the advanced machines, not knowing how to take care of themselves, the people of Earth died by the millions. But from the ashes of their civilization arose a small group of individuals who have learned to survive using a very primitive technology. They call it iPhones. Still, they are only a single catastrophe away from dying off altogether. Yes, you could leave now with the crew that you have left to find this planet, the folder to which has been destroyed. But if you search for Earth, you'll be leaving the people of your fallen empire behind. They will die, and you will have to live with their knowledge you did not save them. But we have no idea where Earth is in all this darkness. You wouldn't tell us? No. You must find Earth on your own. You may find it before you die. You may not. You may find it, but discover everyone is dead. That is part of the risk. He's such a jerk. He just is. Rebecca, I promised I'd return to her. And you still can. You could return to Lazarus 9, awaken her, and spend the last 10 years of your life together, in relative peace and calm. Or if she does so desire, she could join you as you become the galaxy's next emperor, or on your search for the hidden planet Earth. Awaken my wife so that she can watch me become all that she has ever hated, or so that she can join me on a quest to find a mythological remote planet. No. If I awaken Rebecca, it has to be for no other reason than her, so that I can try to give her something genuine at last. Waking her for any other purpose would betray the promise I made to a conqueror to myself. I won't do that. And you'll be 20 years older, so she'll have to live on after you die as well. But isn't there another way? In some parts of the Empire, in some hidden cluster, there must still be some hope for us. Your whole civilization was built on Omni-Tech. Your planets were uninhabitable before our climate control satellites, our ordo farms. Every advancement your kind has, the very reason you expanded into the stars at all, is because of our machines. Machines too complicated for you to ever understand. From where you are now, it would take your kind centuries to reinvent the simplest of creations in mathematics, medicine, or agriculture. Even if you sacrifice yourself by becoming the next emperor, and potentially by humanity sometime, the survival of your kind is still a long shot. All my choices as Admiral have led to this. The hardest one. I do not know which path to choose. Each has much to be gained, but so much to lose. I do not know, and yet the time has come to choose. Wow. Let's go spend some time with our wife. I've led my crew to their deaths hundreds of times trying to save a race destined to die. But that ends now. We will go our separate ways, and I will join Rebecca as longed for and promised. My days as Grand Admiral, as an Imperial puppet, are over, and it comes with great relief. I have chosen, for better or worse. It is done.